But elsewhere, it's a very different story. Instead of being preserved, company history is literally being demolished. At the site of the 2012 Olympics in East London, historian Kieran Tyler has helped salvage vital records of one of Britain's oldest sweet makers.
The King's Yard complex behind me was a rare survival of an early 20th century factory complex. So we did a detailed, almost bolt-by-bolt record of these buildings before they were taken down. And stuffed in the corner of one of these rooms were piles of old documents and books relating to the history of the company.
That company was Clarnico, and the recovered documents and photos tell a remarkable story.
In the jam boiling room, I assume they are boiling vats of sugar away, and they have giant spoons which they're stirring. And here's one in the pan room, which is presumably another process involved in the making of sweets.
These are huge vats, aren't they, that suspended from the roof.
We had a snapshot of the company history here. We had photographs of people doing what they do in the confectionery factory.
And what emerges is a company that was pretty modern for its time.
It was an enlightened company. They had a non-contributory pension scheme in the 1870s. They paid marriage grants to their staff. They had a profit-sharing scheme.
The files are now in a safe house, awaiting their probable transfer to the London Metropolitan Archive. Its senior business archivist, Richard Wiltshire, is a member of a national crisis response team set up to identify at-risk archives. He says the Clarnico discovery should send a message to all those in business who, for whatever reason, are neglecting their company's commercial and historical past.
These things are at risk. We want people across the UK to think, are there records that you have or a company has, and they seem to be doing things that you think, well, they're quite historical. There are people you can contact.
Is there any cash that you have available? In practical terms, what can you do?
There are some risk funds that you can go for. There's a network of local authority archives. There's also universities as well. There are repositories that will take in collections.
It's a bit ironical, isn't it, that the company whose archive this was is now part of the Cadbury empire, which is itself now a takeover target.
We are interested in that story and seeing what will happen in the future. If an archive has a major brand linked to it, the archive's more likely to be retained because they actually support the brand assets.
Some argue that legislation is required to force companies to take better care of their records and heritage. But in the current economic climate, given the inevitable extra cost involved for many companies, that looks unrealistic.